I've been sleepwalking since I was a kid. But it wasn't until I set up a camera to film myself that I realized the true horror of my nocturnal activities. At first, I just wanted to see what I was doing at night. But what I captured was something entirely different. Something that would change my life forever. I've always been a bit of a sleepwalker. Ever since I was a kid. My parents would tell me stories of how I'd get up in the middle of the night and walk around the house, doing all sorts of things without any memory of them the next morning. As I got older, the sleepwalking continued. But I never thought much of it. I just assumed it was something I'd grow out of. But as I entered my 20s, the sleepwalking started to get worse. I'd wake up in strange places, with no idea how I got there. And I'd find strange objects in my room that I had no memory of bringing back. That's when I decided to set up a camera to film myself at night. I wanted to see what I was doing, to understand what was happening to me. I set up the camera in my bedroom, pointed it at my bed, and went to sleep. The next morning, I woke up and checked the footage. At first, it was just me sleeping. But as the night wore on, I started to get up and walk around. I'd get out of bed, walk to the kitchen, and get a glass of water. I'd pace back and forth in my room, talking to myself. It was all pretty normal. But as the night wore on, things started to get strange. I'd start to do things that I had no memory of. Things that didn't seem like me at all. I'd go to my desk and start writing. But it wasn't just any writing. It was dark, twisted stuff. The kind of thing that made my skin crawl. I'd write about death and decay, about the end of the world. I'd draw pictures of strange, twisted creatures. The kind of things that you'd see in a nightmare. As I watched the footage, I started to feel a sense of unease. Who was this person? This sleepwalker who was doing all these strange things. It wasn't me. Or at least, it didn't feel like me. But as I kept watching, I started to notice something else. The sleepwalker, the person on the camera, it wasn't just doing strange things. It was doing things that were organized. It was doing things that required planning. That required a level of consciousness that I didn't think was possible for a sleepwalker. I'd get up and go to my bookshelf. And I'd pull down a specific book. I'd open it to a specific page. And I'd read it. It was like I was trying to tell myself something. But what? As the night wore on, the sleepwalker started to get more and more agitated. It would pace back and forth in my room, talking to itself in a low, menacing tone. It would start to draw more and more twisted pictures. Pictures that seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. And then, just as suddenly as it had started, everything would stop. The sleepwalker would climb back into bed. And I'd be fast asleep once again. I watched the footage over and over, trying to make sense of it all. Who was this person? This sleepwalker who was doing all these strange things? And what was it trying to tell me? As I delved deeper into the mystery, I started to feel a sense of creeping dread. I didn't know what was happening to me at night, but I knew it wasn't good. I started to feel like I was losing control, like I was no longer in charge of my own body. And then, one night, everything changed. I woke up to the sound of my own voice, whispering in my ear. It was the sleepwalker, and it was trying to tell me something. I sat up in bed, my heart racing, and I listened. The voice was low and menacing, but it was also familiar. It was my own voice. But it was different. Twisted. And what it was saying, it was something that I'll never forget. You're not who you think you are, it said. You're not even human. As I listened to the voice, I felt my world start to unravel. Who was I? Really? What was I? The voice didn't give me any answers, but it gave me a glimpse into a truth that I'd never suspected. I was not alone in my body, and the sleepwalker was just the tip of the iceberg. I was a vessel, a host for something else, something ancient and evil. And as I lay there, listening to the voice, I knew that everything was about to change. I was no longer in control, and I never had been. The sleepwalker was just a symptom of a larger problem, a problem that I was only just beginning to understand.